With the added support of the Classic Battle supplemental product, Dorinthea overnight has become a contender to be one of the better decks in Classic Constructed. Now, a lot of players who have entered the game recently did not experience Dorinthea when she first came out in Welcome to Wraith, the original alpha set of Flesh and Blood. For those players, they may be a little bit inexperienced with her playstyle, her card pool, and the way her mechanics work. Because of this, she can often be a very punishing hero who feels very difficult to play against. Today, we're going to break her down to hopefully make it a little bit more simple. Dorinthea, the warrior hero, has a once per turn effect where her weapon, if it hits, can attack an additional time. Dawnblade has synergy with this mechanic, as if it hits twice in one turn, it'll end the turn with a permanent counter unless if it does not hit for an entire turn. To supplement this, she has a few ways to get synergy. The first has to be a way to give Dawnblade go again. This can be in a variety of means, either with a non-attack action, an attack reaction, or even with the added effect of some of her equipment such as refraction bolters. This is really important because Dawnblade itself does not have go again, and it needs to hit twice in one turn to actually gain the counter. So because of this, go again is a very important part of Dorinthea's deck. You're going to see that keyword a lot of different ways to give her weapon go again. Additionally, she has a mechanic called Reprise, where if you block with a card from your hand, there's an added bonus to specific attack reactions. But the overall theme of all of them is normally to give the weapon extra damage. The reason why is because if the Dawnblade doesn't hit, even if it has go again, you're not able to attack twice with it in one turn because Dawnblade has a once per turn attack action. It's Dorinthea herself that lets the weapon attack twice. Two of the powerful cards that were given in the new supplemental product are Glistening Steelblade, a way to give Dawnblade even more counters in one turn, and Run Through, a surprisingly really efficient way to give Dawnblade go again in the reaction step. To break down a couple of her power cards, we're going to start with Singing Steelblade. This is a attack reaction that basically does nothing if you don't block with a card from your hand, but if you block with a card from your hand, it triggers Reprise. And the Reprise trigger is that you can go through your entire deck and tutor up any attack reaction you want, banish it, and you can play it this turn. There's a lot of very powerful attack reactions such as Twinning Blade, which lets it attack an additional time, and Glint the Quicksilver, which gives it go again and lets you draw a card with Reprise. She can also find any damage attack reaction to really push it over the top if she needs to. Going into the next card here, we're going to look at Steelblade Supremacy. This is an extremely powerful card from Welcome to Wraith. It's her specialization. Until end of turn, her weapon is going to get +2, and whenever it hits, draw a card. This can be comboed with cards like Ironsong Determination to also give the Dawnblade +1 and Dominate until the end of the turn. Refraction Bolters can be a way to give it go again since Steelblade Supremacy does not. And she can even break Courage of Bladehold to then let the Dawnblade attack for free so she can save resources to play attack reactions to give it extra damage. And finally here we have Glistening Steelblade, the new card from the Classic Battle set. Whenever a Dawnblade hits a hero this turn, you're going to put a +1 counter on it. And what makes this really powerful is that Dawnblade itself is already going to get a counter at the end of the turn. So if you're able to stack damage in any way that you can to make sure it hits both times, Dawnblade will actually end the turn with 3 counters, which is incredible and really lets you snowball into the next turn. So how do we combat this strategy? The easiest way is through defense reactions. Defense reactions can be a way for us to block Dawnblade, wait for an attack reaction to play them, but even more specifically, we can put them in arsenals so Reprise is never triggered. Also keep in mind, armor and even cards like Oasis Respite ways to prevent damage. If we can turn off Reprise, Dorinthea is much weaker. Also try to prevent Dawnblade from even gaining counters in the first place. If you're proactive enough and you deny Dawnblade hitting multiple times in a turn, it's much easier for you to continue blocking correctly. The problem arises when she's able to accumulate 1 to 2 counters, which then makes it easier for her to snowball into further counters, and then you'll eventually lose the game even though you're going to reach a point where you are trying to full block to stop the Dawnblade entirely. So here's an example of one hand. Very simple, a 2-card hand with a blue pitch. They can go Dawnblade, Run Through into another Dawnblade swing. The first one will connect, and the second one comes in on a breakpoint for 5, threatening a Dawnblade counter at the end of the turn. So keeping this in mind, it would probably be most beneficial to block on the first Dawnblade hit for 3, assuming they only have 1 card left in hand. And then here we're going to look at a Glistening Steelblade turn. So, of course, with the Dawnblade coming in, and then with any extra resources, or even cards like Ironsong Response, able to push it over the top, Glistening Steelblade does give the Dawnblade go again, and so we're able to swing again. And this is just an example with a single blue pitch. And then also, we could even have another card in hand to maybe Ironsong Response the second one. So of course, with all this information in mind, it is really beneficial to actually block the first Dawnblade. And the reason why is because outside of Twinning Blade, there's really no way to actually push this over the top. If you're able to count the cards in their hand, make an educated guess based on the amount of resources they have, it's very difficult for them to surprise you, and to also get that second hit through. So here's another example of a power turn. They can start by breaking Courage of Bladehold, playing Steelblade Supremacy, and now all their Dawnblade swings are going to come in for 5, draw a card on hit, and also don't cost anything. Iron Song Response can then be played to also give a Dominate until end of turn, so every Dawnblade swing is going to come in for 6 with Dominate. And then on hit, they can use the Refraction Bolters to give a go again. They'll draw another card. They can then attack with Dawnblade again for another 6 with Dominate, off the Steelblade Supremacy and the Iron Song Response, threatening another Dawnblade counter, as well as another card draw, which can normally just go straight to Arsenal. With the extra resources, they're able to actually play attack reactions as well during this turn. It's really important to try to block efficiently, while also realizing that power turns like this are going to happen in the deck, and you just have to try your best to survive them. And another example of a hand might begin with Glistening Steelblade, and then after that, of course, swinging in with the Dawnblade itself. Now, knowing this, there's a few things we can do. We could try blocking for 12. Overblocking the Glistening Steelblade means that we survive the Glistening Steelblade turn and we deny them value, but there are problems, right? They could play Singing Steelblade, and we've definitely triggered Reprise by blocking with 4 cards from hand. They could get Twinning Blade, swing the Dawnblade, we have no cards left, so maybe it's better to only block with 3, counting the cards in their hand, saying, I don't think you can get above 9 damage, and even if you could, it means that blocking the next Dawnblade is very easy and at least denies 2 counters. It denies the 1 counter from the Glistening Steelblade, as well as a 1 counter from the Dawnblade actually triggering. But saving 1 card here is also really good, as we're able to block the second Dawnblade after they've exhausted all their cards. So to recap here at the end very quickly, it's good to actually go and look at a Dorinthea list, play one yourself, get a feel for how they use the cards, understand where the power turns are, what their best cards are, and really keep track of their graveyard as the game goes on. If you're able to survive all 3 Twinning Blades, all 3 Glistening Steelblades, all 3 Singing Steelblades, and so on, the deck becomes much weaker. And then as you actually look at their graveyard, you're able to sort of see where they're running out of cards. If you see that all 3 Glint the Quicksilvers are gone, now maybe you're a little bit less concerned about blocking and giving them that Reprise to draw a card. Or if you're really worried about getting blown up by Twinning Blade and you see all 3 are in graveyard, then you know that there's no surprises that they can pull. So really studying the card pool, really prioritizing defense reactions and arsenal if you have them means that you can deny Reprise very easily, as you get to go in the reaction step after they're forced to play attack reaction. So if they have to play Gwent the Quicksilver, and you can even play a defense reaction from your hand at that point and completely shut off their Reprise trigger, or at least deny them the value that they would normally get from it. This video is being built pretty much off the back of another really fantastic video by a content creator called Magic Omens. This video was incredibly helpful for me as I got in the game to learn how to beat Dorinthea. The main reason why I felt the need to make this video at all was just because of the addition of Run Through and Glistening Steelblade. These are just 2 more cards where you have to kind of learn how to block them efficiently. So hopefully this video was kind of helpful. I'm not the most experienced Dorinthea player, but I just wanted to sort of give a little bit of information about how I play against the hero. Thank you for watching.